Yes. Yes, it is. Let me show you exactly why I think so. The DJI Osmo Action 4 is DJI's fourth attempt in their ongoing battle to send GoPro to their grave, while still making a whole fleet of other fun devices for creators. Now, let me preface here real quick. Since 2021, I've been using the original DJI Osmo Action for everything from my biking clips to my experimental videos, and, well, anything I needed an action camera. I've had the camera for 4 years, so it was time for an upgrade. The original footage from the Osmo Action was nothing impressive. The shadows were unusually harsh, the noise levels were kind of crazy even at low ISOs, and the mic was nothing to speak for, but it got the task done. The battery life was decent, but as time went on and DJI released more and more action cameras, bumping the price down for the generations each time, I started to see how much better they were getting. So it was time for an upgrade. So this is my new DJI Osmo Action 4. It can shoot up to 4K 120 FPS in 4:3 aspect ratio in an insanely wide 155-degree field of view for plenty of cropping flexibility in post. Right here on the screen are just a few more things they added to this camera, while still weighing in at only 24 grams heavier than the DJI Osmo Action. And you can pick up this camera for about the same price as AirPods nowadays. It is so cheap. On top of that, you can grab every accessory under the sun for this thing. Everything from more batteries for all-day shooting to, well, invisible selfie sticks. Overall, after trying this camera out for the first time and seeing how it performs, especially at night with very few light sources, I hate to be critical, but it's not perfect. There's still gonna be some artifacts as it tries to make everything as bright as possible, especially affecting the fine noise detail. Something to be aware of is that this camera has a 1/1/3 inch sensor, which is still not huge, if that makes any sense. This is still the only type of sensor you would find in smaller DJI products like the Osmo Pocket 3 and their drones. Not anything like high-end Sony cameras, but you kind of expect that here, right? Also, on a similar note, the post-processing ability is kind of insane with this camera. The 10-bit color function with D-Log-M gives you so much room to make really any kind of look you want. Whether you're slapping on an LUT or actually meticulously changing levels to make it look as cinematic as possible. This camera lets you get closer to any other camera in its class I've seen. Also, if you told me a decade ago that we would have 4K 10-bit cameras that can fit in your pocket, I would have said you're lying. This is just plain crazy. So the Osmo has yet to let me down. So this is the DJI Osmo Action 4. Comes in this cool little case right here. Has a color temperature sensor right here built into the O, so it can get the highest quality color temperature underwater and stuff like that. You can also unscrew this, I believe. Screw other types of lenses on it, just like that. Try not to get anything smudged. Yeah, very cool little camera. It's got a front screen. Just take it out of its cage real quick, just to kind of show you how it works. Just like that. As you can see with that beautiful screen, you have that. I've taken the side cover off just because that's where I put my auxiliary port when I'm doing motovlogging. It has this very cool grainy texture that's very non-slip. Put the battery in right here. I believe you actually push it up. I was pulling it down. Comes out like that, and then that way you can just pull on this little tab, take the battery out. Got a battery that looks just like that. DJI Extreme battery, I believe. Power button's right there, QS. Also doubles as the power button. Also doubles as the quick switch button. So as you can see, it can see way more of the studio than you can. There's my Mac, there's my script right there, and then the cage, fun stuff. You have all the regular stuff, like if you swipe down, you can go to settings, single screen preview, voice control. FOV boost lens brings your FOV really high, even higher. Then you have all your other stuff, horizon calibration for that auto lock, continue last live stream for the live streaming, all kinds of really cool stuff. But then that's just the settings. You go into the video options, you have JPEG and RAW photos. This can take RAW photos, even though the photos from an action camera are not gonna be super impressive. FOV, you have standard, de-warp, which takes all the fisheye distortion out of it, and then you have wide, which goes even wider, but then leaves some distortion in. That's for the photos though. Let me take it to the video. Click on this little icon, go down to video. You got 4:3 video as well, super wide. And you can go to wide, FOV ultra wide, and then there's regular wide, and then there's de-warp, which isn't very wide. I usually like to keep it ultra wide just because I can crop in post if I need to. And then you have stuff like your exposure, your Auto white balance exposure will allow you to change the exposure value, but then also the ISOs. You can choose auto or manual, confirm. You can choose D-Log M color, which is a little bit flatter, but it does give you more color flexibility in post. Or you can choose normal 10-bit. I usually keep it on normal 10-bit because it's kind of the best of both worlds. Image adjustment, you can do custom and change the noise reduction and the sharpness. I wish they would kind of give you more options, but for an action camera, it's all right. How is it going, everybody? So this right here is what I look like now with the new camera. This is a new camera, so I don't really have too much battery anxiety. Had a lot of battery anxiety with the old camera because it died really fast. Ooh, it's a full moon out. I am really excited to come home and review the footage for this because like this is actual night. Like if this isn't too noisy, I'm gonna be really happy. My old camera would have like struggled so much with this. Here's a video actually of me in town riding around using that older camera. But yeah, we got the all new setup. That's a beautiful sky. Oh dang, bruh. This dude ran into a bottle. My voice sounds a little shaky just because it is now finally September, which means the air is getting cooler. It's actually 64 out, and in the past historically it's always been like 75, 70 at night, so I haven't barely had to wear a jacket. Not too excited for when it gets colder because then I'll have to have even more jackets, even more stuff on me. If I could get autumn without the spider webs, dude, I would be golden. Oh, I can almost hit that. I can almost hit that. If you are on your bike or you're on any moving vehicle really, and you have a camera strapped to your face that can see everything, you want to make sure all of that motion is at least kind of smooth. You want motion blur. Motion blur looks really nice and really cinematic, but the reason you want motion blur is because, let's say I'm looking at this grass over here. See, this grass during the day is just image, 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 image. Your shutter speed is really high. So it's like one image and then the next image, and there's no motion blur at all. It's just frame by frame, super stuttery video. However, once you upload the super stuttery video to YouTube with the super high shutter speed, it will destroy your compression to make your video look awful. It will add all kinds of bitrate problems, all kinds of issues because YouTube's compression sucks. So if you get an ND filter and you increase that motion blur, instead of frame by frame, picture, 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 they're all blurred together and it looks like a really smooth thing of motion. I got ND filters. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing some daytime tests with the camera. Hopefully it'll be pretty smooth because I've never used an ND filter on an action camera before. How's it going, everybody? It is a nice, brisk 60 degrees out today. So I have not one, not two, but I have 3 coats on. Last night there was some weird noise cancellation stuff going on with the microphone, but I'm gonna be like 100% honest, I didn't hate it. It actually worked pretty well. I have it off now, so I'm curious to see what it will sound like normally. Probably the same as with the old camera. However, now it's daytime, which means we get to use this ND filter, and I am super curious to see how the ND filter will fare now in the daytime because like I've never used one before. So everything in my helmet so far. So for my setup, the foundation, the base, the actual helmet is a 509 Stealth off-road helmet, I believe. And I have 2 pairs of goggles for the helmet. I have a red 100% pair with a tinted visor for daytime riding, and then I have a black 100% pair with a clear visor for night riding. I have a Cardo Recom 4X so I can talk to my buddies and listen to music while I'm riding. I have a chinmounts.com chin mount for my camera here. Gives me the best angle possible. Of course, the camera is the DJI Osmo Action 4. So far, I absolutely love this camera. The magnetic snap-on mount is from K&F Concepts. If I want to record portrait, I can just take it off and snap it back on the portrait mode. It's really sweet. I have a Tascam DR10L audio recorder that just has a monitoring mode that's feeding into the actual camera. Now the audio recorder can record 32-bit float audio just directly to its SD card. However, I don't use that because I'm lazy. So I have the headphone output from the audio recorder going into the action camera's microphone input. That way, I can just take a video from the action camera and have all the necessary audio baked right in. It's really nice. I have the audio recorder going into a Purple Panda lavalier mic that has a dead cat filter on it to reduce as much wind noise as possible. I have it's like a $8 balaclava I got off of Amazon to kind of keep bugs out of my face. I have a pair of earpiece Moto earplugs, and obviously I have a modified Strong IPX. Everything together costs about this much, and it is just such a recipe for fun. I love every bit of it. For my jackets today, I have a windbreaker over my shirt as the base, the regular windbreaker I got from the thrift store, and then I have a pretty heavy-duty cold jacket, and then I have my custom jacket on the outside so I can show off a little design and shit like that. It's really nice, a little bit of fashion on top of the bike as well. But yeah, I am super excited to see what the footage from this camera is going to look like because it's my first time with the ND filter. I think it's going to be great. But even last night, like I watched the footage from last night and it blew me away, dude. Of course, with the 1/1.3 sensor, you're not going to get like absolutely diabolically low noise levels. There's still going to be noise, but there's literally a denoising filter built into this camera. The noise is there, but it's so much better because of their denoising algorithms. And also, this camera records in 10-bit color, so if you want to do color grading later, like I said, you totally can. Dude, I am so hyped for autumn. Autumn is literally my favorite season, and it's just going to be so much better to ride out with weather like this. I didn't even know there were back roads to get to here. It makes so much sense though. That's awesome. Too bad that's a huge road. So this is why I love exploring like back roads and stuff like that and just places on this bike, because you'll find roads that go to places that you know about that you never thought existed.